Danse, okay, bonjour, hello everyone. I've created this video in order to help you frame a land acknowledgement in a good way. It's best to honor the land that you're on. Let's do some research. Usually, I utilize the nearby universities of where I am near. I look at their land acknowledgements. They usually have an elders advisory committee that is guiding them on their land acknowledgement. If your institution does not have an Indigenous elders advisory committee, then look to nearby communities for this kind of knowledge. Also, I encourage you to do research on your own about the history of the land you are on. Reaching out to your Indigenous colleague is not the best way to go unless they offer. Usually, a land acknowledgement is done by the people who are guests or uninvited guests to the land, but you must do a land acknowledgement in a good way. So here is how. We're going to be going through a social location wheel to understand your positionality. Social location wheels derive from intersectionality. It is a good practice to also input a personal reflection into your land acknowledgement. How long have you been living on this land? What are your reflections as you create a land acknowledgement? It's usually harder work than most people think it is. Also, I usually get my classes to do land acknowledgements just so they can get used to doing them properly and get used to understanding whose land they're on. Next is an accountability piece. All too often, I've heard land acknowledgements without anyone doing anything after. So after your reflection on whose land you're on and the history of the land you are on, then we go into accountability. You can also add accountability to your reflection, but the accountability comes at the end of your land acknowledgement done in a good way. What are you going to do next? What would you like to do next in your personal or professional spheres? So let's begin. It's an honor to be on this land today. I recognize people are online from across Turtle Island, but I would like to honor the land that I am online from today. I am a Métis Nation of Alberta citizen with family ties to the Red River settlement. My Michif or Métis family's last names are Bruneau, Carrière, and Larocque, to name a few. We followed Louis Riel to Saskatchewan for the battles of Batoche, otherwise known as the Northwest Resistance. After these battles, we settled in Treaty 6 lands in the Saskatchewan area. The land where I work is called Edmonton, or in the Cree language, Amiskwachie-Waskagan, which means Beaver Hills House. Amiskwachie-Waskagan is on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis Nation. Specifically, where the University of Alberta North Campus sits, it is Papaschase or Papasteo land, as well as Métis Nation script. The Papaschase Nation was established as part of Treaty 6 in 1877, but Canada annulled it 11 years later in 1888. They were pushed off the land where the University of Alberta North Campus sits, and they were made to move further south in Edmonton. They were then pushed off that land once Chief Papasteo realized that the government of Canada was cheating them on their land base. In response, Canada did not grant Chief Papasteo and his band any land. The Métis people similarly were pushed off the land where the University of Alberta North Campus sits. They were made to move to St. Paul de Métis, which is now called St. Paul, Alberta. Father Lacombe created a program for the Métis where they were taught to farm. But after French settlers moved to Canada, the Métis were pushed off this land and they soon settled in their winter hunting camps. Some of these winter hunting camps are now Métis settlements. I acknowledge and understand that until Indigenous peoples living on these lands and across Turtle Island regain our sovereignty and governance systems back, and that until restitution is paid and truth is unambiguously communicated, that we are all participating in and benefiting from colonial violence. The way I hold myself accountable is that I have developed comprehensive resources that improve the understanding and application of Indigenous laws among legal practitioners and academics. Beyond academia, I have engaged with Indigenous communities over the past 30 years to enhance land sovereignty, justice, and self-determination. I continue on my journey looking at systems development and how decisions are made across institutions, organizations, and the legal processes to identify and aim to transform these established paradigms to cultivate an understanding of Indigenous laws and ethics. Through the Authentic Allyship Project, Mark Balla and I have created a book for allies to question and shift Western educational norms, encompassing a holistic, experiential, and relational learning experience for all.